Is the message for today. Normally, I don't leak my topic that soon. There's a few steps that I take before I jump into my topic, so I'm not quite ready to jump into my topic. Whoever jumps in on my live, good morning. It's still morning. I appreciate your presence here, but of course, we will have a few moments of silent gratitude. I greet you with peace and light, kings and queens. Happy Wednesday. It is still the beginning of the month. It is a new month, the seventh month of the year, which is insanely crazy to me because the year is going by so fast, and it's like self-reflection time. Self-reflection time for me, a time for me to look back on my life and see the progress that I have made, not only from January of 2024 until July of 2024, but even over the past few years. You don't want to find yourself being stagnant and being complacent, getting comfortable with where you are, not doing the necessary things that you know you need to do to move forward, and all of those type of things. And sometimes we can feed ourselves with a bunch of excuses of who and what and why we are not moving forward and doing the things that we know we should be doing. And it's time for us to take accountability. I talk so much about accountability. Accountability is huge. Without accountability, there is no growth. You will not move forward. You will not accomplish things. Always take accountability. Even with me being in the car accident that I was in a few weeks ago, it wasn't my fault, but I chose to take some accountability in, maybe why I ended up in that situation. Now, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't thinking the way that I know I'm supposed to be thinking. The power of thinking is serious. We have to keep our mind in a positive state of mind to prevent negative things to happen to us. So maybe if we think more positively, then we can avoid certain things from happening. We want to attract goodness into our life. And when we are thinking at low levels, it's hard to attract goodness into our life because goodness does not vibrate at low levels. And I try to explain this to you all the time. That's why I always talk about mental health, keeping yourself at a good place mentally so you can vibrate higher and gravitate the good things that you want to yourself. So I think about my thinking strategies. Have I allowed myself to think negatively? Have I allowed myself to be overcome by negative thinking? Have I allowed those intrusive thoughts, negative thoughts to outweigh my positive thinking habits? I do not want to radiate negativity towards me, negative situations. I believe positive thinking is very powerful. A lot of us go through some very serious situations, and a lot of times we don't realize that it is very quite possible and real that the reason that we can go through so many different serious situations in our life is because of our thinking habits, because your thinking is going to have a direct impact on the things that play out in your life on a regular basis. So we have to be mindful of the thoughts that go through our mind on a regular basis. You can't think sickness or constantly talk about or think about how sick you are if you know you want to be healthy. Talk about how healthy you want to be. Talk about the health that you want in your body so you can think about ways that you can allow having a healthy life can become your reality. So a lot of times we think negatively, we speak negatively over ourselves, and in turn that has a direct negative impact on our life and the thinking habits that we think towards other people. I don't care if it's your worst enemy, if they slapped your mama, stole your money, I don't care what they did. The thoughts that you think towards other people is what that's what you are going to impact on yourself. So I'm telling you, forgiveness is real, even for those who have caused us harm. We can't be out here wishing death on people and all that kind of stuff because of what they did to you in your past, and I'm going to hate that person for life. You talking about you going to hate that person for life, you'll end up hating yourself for life, because hate, it grows hate, and it's not choosy of where the hate grows. You hate that person, you end up hating yourself, you hate your life, you hate your job, you just gonna hate everything. So I'm telling you, you don't want to allow hate to be a normal part of your life. Even if it's somebody who did something to you, they was probably wrong as two left shoes. I'm telling you, wrong is wrong is wrong. And you can't allow yourself to hate. Just love anyway. You ain't got to tell them that you love them and forgive them. Just grow love and forgiveness within yourself, so that can become your reality. Don't walk around with hate on you, because that is going to overpower you. Negative thinking strategies and negative habits are very contagious. They grow. They manifest into different areas of our lives that we don't want them to be. And then next thing you know, we mad and we complaining about how this is that way and I would rather it be this way. I'm telling you, fix your thinking habits. Be mindful of the way that you think on the regular basis. I had such a great experience just yesterday, and it wasn't anything huge. I went out. A friend of mine honestly have been by my side through my whole this whole accident situation. Actually, we both lost a loved one at the same time, the same day that my son's father passed away. His nephew passed away in a very tragic car accident that same day. So we have been like emotionally and supporting each other for the past few months or so. And he came out and took me out to run some errands and just to get some fresh air yesterday. And everyone was so nice and so compassionate. And it was just so noticeable. And I was like, and I wish to think that I am that nice and that kind and that compassionate, that I am radiating that energy back to myself. And if there is anything that I can continue to do on a regular basis to have those type of encounters with people on a regular basis. Of course, a lot of people have been kind and compassionate towards me because my legs are busted up and I'm still hopping around on crutches and all that type of stuff. But people don't have to be kind to you. Kindness is a given. People do not have to be kind, and people have not always been kind to me. So I know what it feels like when people are just nasty and rude. And I'm not talking about any particular, anyone in particular. I just know what it feels like when people are just not very kind to you. And I appreciate when I come into those type of encounters, and it was like, very obvious that a lot of people were treating not only me but him as well with just kindness on yesterday. And not only yesterday, that has been my experience lately, that people have been kind to me, and I try to make it my business to only associate with people that I know are going to treat me with love and compassion and kindness. Of course, everyone is not going to treat you that way, and I choose to disassociate myself with people who don't want to treat me that way, because I don't want to become that. I want to be as kind and compassionate as I can possibly be. And I set up these thinking strategies in my mind, and it changes my reality. This is why I'm talking about this right now, because of the way that I think. It literally changes the world around you, and you can take that one scenario and you can focus it on any any area of your life. I like when people are nice to me. I like when I got money in my bank account. I don't want to think negatively about the money that I have in my bank account. The little that I have in there, I want it to grow. I want it to multiply. So I don't think about how broke I am or what I don't have or what bills need to be paid. I think about my money in a positive way, and it allows my money to grow. It allows my money to grow when I think positively about my money. I don't open bills and grumble and mumble. Let me tell you something about my bills. I have had one bill in particular that has had a zero balance for the past almost 3 years. And I was like, wow, it's actually my electric bill. I had a power outage maybe about 8 months ago. It was due to a storm and the power went out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta call the electric company. My power needs to come back on. And I didn't know which electric company the supplier that I was using. I called myself calling the electric company. I was like, okay, the storm knocked out the wires. I just want to know if anyone called you guys already. When are you coming back? Do you have like an estimated time for the wires to be repaired, the electric to come back on? It was like, well, we don't think we're your supplier. I was like, okay. I was like, and that was like a good kind of embarrassment if I want to say, if you're going to be embarrassed about anything. I was like, wow, I have not had to pay that electric bill in so long that I forgot which supplier that I had. And it's a blessing. It is a blessing that at first I didn't even know where the funds were coming from. And I really don't even know exactly where the funds were continuing to come from over that time. I'm telling you, God will you will be blessed in different areas of your life. Unexpected blessings will be your reality. I still don't know exactly where or who or how it has been that way for such a long time. I just thank God for it, and I'm grateful for it. And if anything, I'm a single mother, have been one for almost 30 years. And anything it would help me, and anybody. I'm just grateful for everything, but I don't want to think negatively. I don't want to mumble and grumble and piss and holler every time I see a bill come in and be scared about how I'm going to pay the next bill and all those type of things. That's when your bill's not going to get paid. You want to be able to walk in faith. You want to be able to think positively about every area of your life, about your health, about your finances, about your love life, and don't be out here talking about how these people ain't worth nothing nowadays and all that type of stuff. If you want a loving, genuine relationship with anybody, a spousal relationship, fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend, life partner, whatever, why you walk around talking about these people ain't worth nothing nowadays and all this type of stuff? It's one person out here that is worth what you need them to be worth, and y'all will be good for each other. If you hold on to that belief in your heart, then maybe it will be a chance that you will gravitate that person towards you. I don't want to put the reality in my mind that everybody ain't worth nothing, because I know that there are some truly kind, considerate, loving, genuine, compassionate people out here. And that is not only as far as loving relationships are concerned. That is as far as anything. Business partners. I love everything about entrepreneurship. I know how to make my own money and all that type of stuff. I don't want to be out here thinking that everybody gonna burn me and all this and that. And I know there's some shiesty people out here in the world, but I want to believe that the people who have my best interests at heart, that want to see me grow, that want to see me win, that God is going to bring the people into my life that I need to be there, that I deserve to be there, the people with the same type of heart as mine, and all of those type of things. Thinking strategies. This is what I'm talking to you guys about today, because the way that you set up your thinking patterns in your mind is going to actually be what your reality is going to be. Yes, I have had some bad experiences in business and life and love and all that type of stuff. I was married to the wrong person for almost 10 years. I'm not saying anything negative about the person that I was married to. He just wasn't the person that I should have been married to. That don't mean there's not a good person. Like, my person is not out here. My person is not out here. I just haven't found him yet. So we have to fix the way. We have to be mindful of the way that we think on the regular basis, because if not, when it becomes your reality, and that is as far as any situation is concerned, and we try to blame it on other people for being the way that they are, you have to think about the way that you have been allowing yourself to think lately. How have your thinking strategies been? I talk about thinking all the time. No, my thinking is not perfect. My mind is not perfect, but I work on these things every day, and I see beautiful things come my reality because of the way that I allow my thinking to be. I have beautiful experiences on the regular basis. Even with me being in the situation that I am in right now, I am in the process of healing, and I have just been so loved. Like, people are loving on me and calling and checking on me and everything that I can possibly even ask for, even still now. And I'm like so grateful of the outpouring of love and everything that everyone has been showing me. I can't even think about the people that haven't called and checked on me, and why haven't this person called. It don't even matter, because I choose to focus on the love that I am getting from the people who are, expressing their concern about my well-being and about my healing and all of those type of things. So we waste too much of our time on a regular basis thinking negatively. And if we want to change the trajectory of our life, the direction that our life is going in, it is all going to start with the way we allow ourselves to think on a regular basis. That was lesson number 1. That had nothing to do with obedience. But I am going to get into my life lesson about obedience, but we can apply obedience to me just saying the things that I just said. Because if you want to be obedient to your own self and to your own life, you can think about the way that you allow yourself to think on a regular basis. You want your experiences to be positive on the regular basis. Like, the majority of your experiences in life, you want them to be good experiences. I'm not saying that nothing bad is never going to happen and we ain't going to have to go through stuff and all of that type of stuff, but just think to yourself, if there is anything in my power that I can do to prevent negative situations, negative encounters with people, and negative relationships, or whatever, negative outcomes in my finances. I'm sick of not having enough. I'm sick of not being loved. I'm sick of nobody not calling to check on me, or I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. What can I do? Ask yourself that question. What can I do to allow myself to kind of shift that reality in my life of being sick and tired of being sick and tired? I don't want to be sick and tired no more. How about that? I mean, I know it ain't just me. It ain't fun being sick and tired. And a lot of people out here is both of them. I don't want to be either one. But anyway, we're going to get into this life lesson. Y'all got me. See, I missed y'all. I have not been on here delivering life lessons. I kind of really jumped back into it. I was in a low place mentally, adjusting myself from being this person that is very active. Let me tell y'all my schedule. So I did yoga on Mondays, Pilates on Tuesdays. I worked out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday. So, and then I did Zumba every Friday, and sometimes on Saturdays I'll do Zumba as well. So I was just at swimming. I ain't even gonna count the swimming. Like, I'm just such an active person, doing everything, maintaining my household by myself, still with the grace of God. I can't say I'm doing nothing by myself. Maintaining a part-time job, being a single mother to my children, and then this accident happened, and it was like everything just changed around just in that moment. I'm grateful for my life and that I am still alive, but I just see my whole life just change in that moment. With that impact, I knew that things were not going to be the same anymore, and they have not been the same. So that's a major adjustment mentally. How can you adjust yourself to that mentally? So that is one reason why that I have just been taking some time out to get to ground myself, to lay down a foundation that I want to build off of from this point forward, and to focus on my mental health. I didn't want to be sad, and my children have been amazing to me, and so many other people have been amazing to me, but I missed being here and just teaching. This is my very first life lesson since my accident, so I'm not going to waste a whole lot more of y'all time, but we have arrived at another week's life lesson that alone brings me joy and peace. I am so through the roof, very happy and excited to be here, and grateful to be able to be willing and able to deliver this life lesson over to you guys. I am allowing myself to be open and free to learn today. I want to live, I want to learn, I want to experience more joy, peace, and freedom in my life. And I don't only want that for myself, I want that for you guys too. So please come prepared to receive this life lesson. But before we get started, let's just simply be grateful. I have so much to be grateful for. I can't talk about you, where your life is right now, what you are going through, what you are celebrating, the end of one thing, the beginning of something else. I don't know if you want to choose to be grateful today in these moments, but today, here, now, in these moments, I want to be grateful. Everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. And just let me remind you as well that we do not do God a favor by allowing ourselves to be grateful and count our blessings on the regular basis. We are literally opening ourselves up to way more blessings. It brings you so much peace and freedom when you allow yourself just a few moments to say thank you, 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 thank you. I'm telling you, you are more blessed than you realize you are, and that is a fact. So I call it silent gratitude. For those of you who are not familiar with this segment of my Wednesday life lesson, and with silent gratitude, we close our eyes, we take a couple deep breaths, and I like to think of the things that I am most grateful for, that I am most grateful for. There are so many things to be grateful for, and I just try to cram in there all the things that I am most grateful for. Any blessing is not minor to me. Like, we might say, like, it was a small blessings, but blessings are huge. The word in itself, blessing, is huge, and it is major. So what might be small to you, you think in your eyes, might be that one thing that changed your life, that saved your life, that could have been the other way around, things that different people are suffering with that you don't have to suffer with, maybe in your health, and maybe in third world countries and people all across the world. They don't have the freedom and things that us here in the United States, we take for granted on the regular basis, and everyone are not even as fortunate as we are, even to live out their own religions and all of that. They will get slaughtered for, calling God by the wrong name, or, whatever. So we have way more freedom than we realize that we have, and we should just be grateful for everything. Even people in different parts of the world. I do notice that my audience is growing, and I do have people from all over the world that tune into these videos. If you can find that one thing that you have to be grateful for today, that just may open your entire world up to way many more blessings. Everything is a mindset. Where you put your mind at, you want to be happy, you want to be grateful, you want to be free in your mind. You don't want to be held down. If there's a point in my life where I felt like I just had a ton of bricks weighing down on me. And it wasn't that life got easier, that the bills got less, or the kids got better, or whatever. It is where I literally put myself at mentally that allowed these burdens to become lighter. When I activate in faith, and when I activate in gratefulness and thankfulness, and just change the way that I'm thinking, it is literally like weights are being pulled off my shoulder, that I can walk freely, that I can smile, that I can laugh, that I can be genuine and enjoy my life, enjoy myself, enjoy my experience, live in the moment, be free, do the things that make me happy, and all of those type of things. It is literally a state of mind, and where you put yourself mentally in your mind, that allows you to live a more happy and joyful life. And being grateful, if you don't know where to start, that is a good place where you can start to become more free and blessed in everything that you desire in your heart. You can start to allow these things to become your reality by learning how to be grateful on a regular basis. So let's start there. We can start there. Listen, it is July. It's July. It's going to be December. Things are changing. We are changing. We are getting older and all of those type of things. And a lot of us have been stuck and suffering for way too long. And sometimes we could be confused. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. You know, my life has been this way for way too long. I want things to get better for me. And sometimes we can look at outside sources when we need that inner peace. We're looking for different people to change, and this person needs to stop doing what they're doing and stop getting on my nerves. You're getting on your own nerves at this point. So just do some things to allow yourself to live a better life. And it don't have nothing to do with nobody else. It's all you, your approach to life. And a great approach to life is learning how to be grateful on a regular basis. So here we go. I'll tell y'all be making me go off about this stuff all the time, and I'm trying to break it down to you the best possible way that I can break it down to you, the importance of it, because I want it to become your reality. I know, because I live these things on the regular basis. I have allowed these things to become my reality. This is how I know. All right, so come on, let's go. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to take a couple deep breaths. I want to calm my spirit. I want to be full of gratefulness. I want gratitude to be my attitude, not now, but always. I want my life to be a walking expression of gratitude. I want God to be with me always. I ain't greedy and nothing like that. I'm grateful for what I have, but I wouldn't mind being blessed even more. Allowing myself to be open to many more blessings in my life. And one sure way that we can allow that to be our reality is by being grateful for the things that we already have. So if you want to be blessed, then just be grateful. So here we go. That works wonders for me every single time. I can feel my vibrations rising up to a whole nother level every time I allow myself to be grateful. I do it in the morning, first thing when I wake up in the morning. That is the last thing that I do at night. Not only the blessings that I encounter during my everyday life, but just everything overall in general. The series of events that may have happened for me on the day-to-day basis, even if it's the small things may multiply into whatever you want it to multiply into if you allow yourself to be grateful for the little things. So do that for yourself. Do that for yourself today. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it, baby. We're going to get into this topic. Today's topic is obedience for all the grown folks out here. Listen, if you don't want to hear about obedience, then you might as well just shut the message off right now. Because I, for one, in this moment, have told myself that I am going to allow myself to be used in this moment. And whatever God wants me to say to you about obedience today, that is what I am going to do, and that is what I am going to say. So for my grown folks out here that I do what I want to do. You talking about obedience? Obedience to who? Obedience to what? I'm grown. I work. I pay my own bills. Yeah, you work. You grown. You pay your own bills. But a lot of us are not walking in obedience. And in turn, it has a reflection on your life. You can see it. You can see it when you are not allowing yourself to walk in obedience. I am not a perfectly obedient person. Sometimes I do what I want to do instead of what I have to do, or instead of what I need to do. And sometimes I want to be sitting up here arguing with God. I try not to. God is just something that I don't want to play with. But sometimes I'm like, why do you want me to do this? When God placed it in my heart to deliver a message on faith, I was like, I don't want to deliver no message on faith. I don't want to deliver no message on faith. Tell somebody else to deliver a message on faith. And he was like, you gonna deliver a message on faith. And I was like, I had to deliver the message on faith out of obedience. And I'm so glad that I delivered that message on faith, because so this is my reality. I was in a very serious car accident not too long ago, and I looked in my rear view and I saw this woman coming at me, and the only thing I could think of was, is she going to stop? And I realized that for whatever reason that this car wasn't going to stop. And in that moment, I chose to activate my faith. I was like, I'm just going to trust God right now. So I just held on and trusted God. Whatever is going to happen, I invited the presence of God. God was like, what you going to do? I was like, I'm going to have faith in you. I'm going to have faith in you. And I was like, maybe that's why God made me deliver that message on faith. So sometimes we have to walk in obedience even when we don't want to. Even me sitting here delivering life lessons to you guys, that is walking in obedience and doing the things that I believe that God has me out here doing. I mean, I can learn, I can study life and apply these things to my life and all those type of things. I can do this stuff without teaching it to people, but God said, no, you're not going to only live your life in such a way, but I want you to tell people the things that I did for you and the things that I continue to do for you. So you're going to live it, you're going to learn it, you're going to walk it, you're going to teach it, and all of those type of things. So that's obedience right there. So we're going to get into it now that we have allowed ourselves to be grateful for life and for living and for each moment and for our blessings, and we can allow ourselves to be consumed in gratefulness right now. Do away with all your negative energies, your negative feelings. I don't care what you're going through, what your mama did, arguing with your spouse. I don't care what it is. No negative energy right here. Good vibes only. Come on here with good energy, because if not, you will not allow yourself to be receptive of what you just might need in these moments. There may be something here for you, and if you not in the right mind space, you're not going to be able to be open and willing and ready to receive what you need to receive in these forthcoming moments. So we're talking about obedience today. Obedience, compliance with an order, request, or law, submission to another's authority, or submission to another's authority. So obedience talks a lot about being obedient to God. It really does. So that is like the main thing that I came across so much during this study. And when it says submission to one's authority, the main authority that I can think of is being obedient to God. So I just want us to be all on the same page when we are talking about obedience or compliance with order. A lot of us work at a 9 to 5. We got to go to work and punch that man clock, and we got to do, even though we don't want to do, some of the rules and regulations might be ridiculous, and I don't understand, and why they making me do this and they not making them do that, and I done been there and all that type of stuff. But even at the workplace, I have allowed myself to walk in obedience even when it's unfair. So when you allow any kind of positive emotion like obedience to become your reality, it does not only work in one area of your life. And when you are incorporating something like obedience into your life, you can apply it in different areas of your life, and it will become your reality. It will have a positive reflection on every area of your life. So yes, the rules might be dumb at your job and they might not apply to everybody, and you are and your boss is expecting one thing out of you and then something else out of somebody else. That person walking around doing what they want. Listen, I know. Trust me, I know. But even in those moments, even at times like that, when you don't want to be obedient, I encourage you to be obedient anyway, because it's going to have a positive reflection of your life. Ask me how I know. Because I allowed myself to become more obedient over the years, even when I don't want to. Even when I don't want to, when it's unfair and all of those type of things. So allowing yourself to be in compliance with an order, or with a request, or with a law. And sometimes we don't want to do none of that. We out here driving and running red lights and all of those type of things, and disobeying the law and disobeying order, and even certain orders in our family. We should be obedient to a certain order in your family just because it deserves that certain respect or a certain obedience or whatever. And a lot of times we can be all out of whack as far as obedience is concerned for whatever reason, because and once you put something in your mind why you don't want to be obedient, just take your job for instance. I'm not doing why they telling me to do. I'm not doing that, because why should I do if that person is not doing that? So you have already placed in your mind that you are not doing it and why you are not doing it. So that way, it's just going to become your reality. So if you place in your mind something positive, like regardless of the fact if that person is not doing it, if my boss or whatever is expecting certain behaviors out of me and this is what I need to do, regardless of what the other person is doing, I'm going to learn how to be more obedient anyway. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do regardless of what whoever else is not doing. But we have to allow ourselves to be more obedient on a regular basis, just because. I'm just using that one thing for instance when we are talking about things that happen in our workplace and how unfair these things could be. And then we build up things in our own mind, and that's what we begin to live out. And you'll end up losing your job before the next person will. They'll still be working there and they'll fire you for being disobedient, while that person's sitting up there snickering and laughing at you for being fired for the same thing that they not doing. So regardless of whatever, whether you don't like it or not, or how unfair it may be, we should allow ourselves to walk in obedience anyway. I know it sucks on so many levels. It's sad we don't like it, but it is not for the sake of your boss or even your job or any of that. It is for the sake of you living a better life. Is for you, because there's going to come a point in your life where you are truly going to need to know how to incorporate obedience in your life. And it can be a make it or break it situation. It could be a matter between life and death. And if you don't teach yourself how to be obedient, it can cost you a lot. So it don't stop there. It don't just stop with you not wanting to do what your boss told you to do because it's unfair and this job is dumb and it ain't even worth all that, and y'all ain't paying me enough, and you ain't making the other person do it and all that. It don't stop there, because it just may likely have if you don't teach yourself how to be obedient, it can cost you more than you realize that it can cost. I'm telling you this for a reason. Listen, y'all ain't gotta listen to me. It's not easy being obedient. It's just not. It's not easy, like sucking it up, taking that deep breath, doing whatever you know you got to do to obey the laws, the rules, the regulations, and all of that type of stuff, especially when it comes down to being at a workplace. We got to maintain our living and all of that type of thing. But learning how to be more obedient on the regular basis is going to have a major positive impact on our lives in the long run. And that's with any positive emotion or any positive thing that we incorporate in our lives on a regular basis. Sometimes we can think that it just applies to that one situation, but it goes further than you realize it goes. So yes, just staying in order and staying in compliance. So listen, I'm trying to told you. I'm trying to told you. An obedient person does what they are told to do. And I just simply wrote that down because that's what an obedient person does what they are told to do. You do what you're told to do if you're an obedient person. If you are in a loving marriage or in a loving relationship and your spouse expects something out of you or even tells you to do something, if you are with the right person, you want to be submissive to what that person is expecting out of you or what they are telling you to do. Too often, and I'm not only talking about wives being submissive to husbands, I'm talking about husbands being submissive. You know you got a good wife and you know you ain't doing right. Don't be sitting up there mad when you done lost out on the best thing that ever crossed past with your little monkey self because you don't want to be obedient to your marriage, to your life, to the person that God has blessed you with, and all those things. If your wife asks or even tell you to do something, you should do it out of obedience. If your homeboy asks you, why you doing that? I'm doing it because my wife told me to. Because I got a good wife and I don't want her to go nowhere. And to the wives, all that back talking and lip and all that type of stuff, if you are supposed to, if you got to do something to be submissive and obedient to your husband, just for the sake that a good man is hard to find. Let's just stop there. And a lot of women out here, we single because you got to be mindful of what you are submissive to. So I ain't saying go out here and just be submissive to the first monkey that start because everybody does not deserve your submission. But I'm saying maybe we could have spared a good relationship if we learn how to be more submissive and obedient. Y'all gonna be mad at me today. Y'all gonna be mad at me when I finish this, man. I'm telling you, I love you. Let me just say this. I love you. It ain't for me. And it ain't from me. This is what God wants me to say to you. Maybe we could have spared a lot of hurt, heartache, pain, divorce, and all of that type of stuff. And we knew how to be more obedient to what God has placed before us. Be obedient to your husband. Be obedient to him. Be submissive to him. Do what he expects out of you. And if he tells you to do something, do it. It says it in marriage vows to love, honor, and obey. It says to obey. And we are in this day and age and time and all this stuff. We got these women out here, girl, you fancy and you cute and you make your own money, but you sitting up here, you don't want to obey nothing or nobody. You just want to be walking out here talking reckless, doing whatever you want, with whoever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, all that type of stuff. But now you sitting up here complaining because you don't have what you feel like you deserve in life, out of a mate, out of a marriage, out of a spouse, out of a partner, out of life, period. You don't want to be obedient to your life, to your own self. If you know you're supposed to be doing something, then do it. Do it out of obedience. If you know you're not supposed to be doing something, don't do it. Don't do it out of obedience. I'm going to not do that because I know I ain't got no doggone business doing it. We talking about obedience today. Listen, I told y'all, I'm going to rub some of y'all the wrong way. Don't be mad at me. I'm just at the beginning of my message. I'm going to be obedient and do what I believe that I am supposed to be doing in these moments. But Lord, we have to obey the things that we are supposed to do. So an obedient person does what they are told to do. And I am so glad that I wrote that down. Are you obedient? Ask yourself. Ask yourself that question. Am I obedient? Have I learned how to be more obedient over the years? Listen, you ain't got to tell nobody. You ain't got to tell your girlfriend. You ain't got to tell your cousin. Girl, I know I ain't been as obedient as I probably should have been. And I just realized that I need. You don't have to tell nobody. Ask yourself and answer yourself. I don't care how crazy they call you. Am I an obedient person? Are you an obedient person? Okay, y'all gonna call me out on my mess right in front of y'all. Am I an obedient person? In all transparency, I don't like to listen. I don't. I don't like to listen. And as tough as it is for me to listen, it's one of the hardest things that I struggle with on the regular basis is being obedient. And this is why God has me delivering this message today. I try to be obedient anyway. I try to be obedient anyway. Do I have room in my life to be more obedient? Of course I do. I'm human. I have flaws. I make mistakes. I don't like to listen, but I try because I see the effect of me not being obedient. It has landed me on my butt too many times. And I'm talking about fell down hard on my butt because I just don't like to listen. And I was like, okay, I can't keep having these same outcomes. That's where your wisdom comes into place. If you want a different results, you have to do something different in order to have different results in your life. So I'm like, okay, if I want something different to happen for me in my life, I have to learn how to be more obedient. Ask my mother. God bless her. So my mom swore up and down she called us hard headed. For the old heads that know what hard headed means, just don't like to listen. My mom swore up and down she had the most hard headed kids in the entire world. And you know what? She wasn't half lying about it. And then that's just to be honest. And whoever don't like it, I don't care. She wasn't half lying about it. My mom had a hard-headed bunch of kids that just don't like to listen. Half of them about as hard-headed now as they've been all their entire life. And you gotta look at the reflection that disobedience is having on your life. What does that mean to your life? What does that look like on your life? What does it look like for you to be disobedient? What kind of impact does that have on your life? If you don't like it, change it. So I'm not entirely obedient. So to answer your question, are you obedient? And you can ask yourself that question. And if you want to be completely honest with yourself, if you want to grow past your suffering, then you are going to be completely transparent with yourself when you ask yourself these type of questions. Are you obedient? So you answer that for yourself. How you answer it is up to you. Are you obedient to God? Are you obedient to your own life? Are you obedient to making good habits out of bad habits and doing what is best for you? So obedience is not for the other person. Obedience is not to make you look like a chump and you always obeying the rules and making you look square and all those type of things. It ain't about none of that. Obedience is for you to have a better experience while you are living. Disobedient people are the ones that are behind bars. people who, or in the grave, or just living a life that they just don't desire to live. Disobedience can cost you. It can cost you more than what you realize. It don't have nothing to do with nobody else. It's about the life that you so desire to live in your heart. What do you really want out of your life? Ask yourself this question. If you think about the decisions that you have made in obedience, how would that have a reflection on your life? How would that look like for my life? Would that mean a more positive experience to me? Think about the last decision that you have made that required you to be obedient or disobedient, or doing things that you are told to do, or that you are supposed to do. If I had did things in the way that I'm supposed to do them, by authority or by the laws or by request, or the way that I am told to do them, if I would have done it in a more obedient way, would that have had a more positive reflection of your life? Because you are going to suffer the consequences of disobedience. And that's just for all of us. Obedience. We're talking about obedience today. Obedience is important in all aspects of life: personal, professional, and spiritual. Your personal life, I just talked about being in a relationship and all those type of things. I have had some failed relationships in my life, and I know what I want, and I know what I don't want, and I know what I want to give to another person. I want to be able to be more obedient in my personal life. I know my struggles with my professional life, with me not being more obedient in entrepreneurship and employment, working for another person, me just having constant friction with people that I work for or whatever. And I have told myself that for my sake, I'm going to learn how to be more obedient, whether they noticed it or not, whether, I don't do it for recognition or whatever. I do it for myself, because I want to have more pleasing experiences in life. I don't want to keep continuing to have the same friction with the same people over and over and over again. So to eliminate a whole lot of suffering and negative experiences in my life, I have chose to be more obedient, even more in my professional life. Spiritually, we're going to talk about being obedient to God. They mention obedience so much in the Word of God. I believe that there is I didn't write it down, but I came across like 3 scriptures in the Word of God in the Bible that talked about obedience. To say pray, obey, and be vigilant. Pray and obey, pray and obey, pray and obey. So God talks about praying and obeying. And how do you know how to be spiritually obedient? Because number one, you will be convicted in your spirit when you know that you are doing something outside of the will of God. You will be convicted of in your spirit. God always confirms with me the things that He does not, that I'm doing, that are not very pleasing in His eyes. And you don't have to be a super spiritual person to recognize the spiritual obedience that you are supposed to have. You are supposed to have a certain level of respect and honor and obedience for your higher power. And it does not take a whole lot for you to point those things out, the things that you are supposed to. We ignore these things. We ignore our spiritual connection, and we just sweep these things under the rug. We minimize the importance of them and all of those type of things, and we suffer for our disobedience and the things that we are doing that are not very pleasing in the eyes of God. So it doesn't take much to notice your spiritual obedience. You can always look for it in your religious background, whatever that background may be. You can always look for it in prayer and connection and talking to your higher power, asking God what He expects of you, what He wants you to do. Pray and ask God and wait for God to answer you. Sometimes He might just lead you in the direction that you need to go in, and you just may well be knee deep in something that God does not want you to be in. And in order for us to be more obedient, we have to be vigilant to the word of God. We're going to talk about vigilance next week. We have to look out. We got to be watchful of the things that we want God, wants God us to do. Not ignore those things, kind of just be mindful and look out for those spiritual connections and things that we are supposed to be doing that are in the will of God. We need obedience to get along in life. We just do. We need obedience to get along with others. And I always bring it back to self because self is important. We need obedience for inner peace, not only to get along with others, to get along better at our workplace, to get along in our families, in our personal life, to have a pleasing and better connection with our spiritual being, but even for your own self. You need obedience for yourself so we can all have a more positive experience in our life. We need obedience to get along in life. So whether we want to admit it or not, it is true. We absolutely need obedience. Obedience brings confidence, internal happiness, and a sense of fulfillment. Obedience brings confidence, internal happiness, and a sense of fulfillment. So all of those things are much needed. Sometimes we can feel empty on the inside. We are not happy. There can be a lack of fulfillment. We feel like we are always got this empty space that needs to be filled on the inside. So obedience can kind of fill in that empty space that needs to be fulfilled. So respect and obedience goes hand in hand, and it does. Respect and obedience goes hand in hand, and that is as far as every aspect of our life is concerned. If you respect someone, then you are going to obey them. If you respect your higher power, you are going to obey your higher power. If you respect yourself, you are going to be more obedient to yourself and the things that you know you need to be more respectful towards in your life. Obedience changes everything. Small obedience leads to strong character. A small obedience leads to strong character. Obedience leads to personal growth. I don't know how important personal growth is to a lot of you, but personal growth is very important to me because when I allow myself to grow personally in personal areas of my life, I can allow myself to grow outwardly. I have that inner growth, you growing from the root, and then you can allow yourself to blossom and bloom and just live a more fulfilling and pleasing life, full of life, love, laughter, and all of those type of things. And it can prevent these negative experiences from becoming your reality on the regular basis. So when we talk about personal growth, we are talking about not allowing yourself to have to suffer with some of the same things that you have been suffering with in the past over and over and over again. Sometimes some of us continue to go through some of the same things year after year with the same people and all of those type of things. Look at the growth that you have made within yourself. Are you growing? If you are a person that desires to grow a little more in your life, then think about allowing yourself to incorporate obedience in your life a little bit more in order for you to grow personally. Nothing negative can come out of this. That is just the point of me saying all of that. I'm giving it to you in different aspects, different areas. I want to be able to understand. I want you guys to be able to understand. By the end of this message, I want to be 1,000 times more obedient than I was coming into this message. So I want to understand how and why being more obedient can benefit my life in different ways, different areas, and different aspects of my life. It brings harmony and peace in society. That's what obedience does. We can harmonize with one another. We can get along better and all of those type of things when we learn how to be more obedient. We have to live in this world together. We don't have a choice. I mean, how many different options do we have? Some of us don't like people. We try to avoid contact with human beings, but there ain't like how much can you avoid contact with different human beings? We just have to learn how to be obedient, gravitate obedience towards your life. Maybe your life will be surrounded around people that learn how to be more obedient. Maybe your hard-headed kids will learn how to listen more if you learn how to be more obedient. We talk about how hard, my mom used to say hard-headed. That was her favorite thing. Why are you so hard-headed? I don't know. I don't know why I'm so hard-headed. But my mom was funny. But maybe if your kids, our kids, my kids, see me learning how to be more obedient, that would in turn allow my kids to be more obedient. I don't want no bunch of hard-headed kids. One of my biggest fears is for my kids to go out here and have to learn from the streets or learn from authority or just learn in the worst way. I would rather do whatever I have to do in my power so my kids won't have to suffer. So if it takes for me to be more obedient, for my kids to learn how to be more obedient, if they see that on their mom, if they see that on me walking in obedience, and I see my kids being more obedient than me, and I'm grateful for that. And it comes from the small things that I choose to be more obedient in my life. I see the small thing. I see my kids walking in obedience, and in turn, my kids suffer way less than I have ever suffered, that I suffered in my life. I caused myself so much heartache and pain out of disobedience. I suffered so much because of my own disobedience. And I see my kid, they get on my nerves. They don't like listening to me, but they don't take that out into the world. They don't take that out when it comes time for them to do most of them anyway. I ain't gonna sit up here and act like I got no bunch of perfect kids, because in what world does that exist? But I do. I see my kids, that my kids are way more obedient than I have ever been. And it has a major positive reflection on their lives. And I'm grateful for that. So if there's anything that I can do in my power to ensure a more positive experience for my children, then I am more willing to do that. Most of the decisions that I made in my life to change my life around was for the sake of my children, to live a better life. So I'm glad that I did those things, that I learned how to walk more in obedience. So obedience brings blessings. God rewards our obedience. God rewards obedience when we learn how to walk in obedience. I believe that even with me being a influencer, a motivational speaker, and me writing books, being an author, a public speaker, and all the things that I do on the regular basis to empower different people, even in my personal life, my family, my friends, and all those type of things. And I'm very purposeful about empowering other people because I know where I come from and I know where I am right now. So even if I feel like I am not getting much benefit out of it, it is very gratifying, number one, because I love having a positive impact on other people. And number two, I am doing it out of obedience. I'm doing it because I believe that this is what God has told me to do. I struggle with this. I struggle with it so bad. I was like, I want to keep encouraging myself. I want to keep doing what I got to do for myself. I'm literally growing right in front of you guys and doing the work and doing the things that I am encouraging you to do and all of those type of things. It is not easy to grow in front of the entire world. Now, this is what I do on the regular basis. I make mistakes and all of those type of things, and I continue to allow myself to push past my mistakes and continue to grow and learn right in front of you guys. And if it wasn't for God on my side, for me being obedient, God was like, I'm not going to bring you to something or tell you to do something if I'm not going to see you through it. So that makes it even more comfortable, or makes me more able to do the things that I do on a regular basis, because I know I'm walking in obedience, and God ain't going to just send me out here and have me looking all crazy. He blesses me through it, the entire thing. So I'm walking in obedience right now, even being here and talking to you guys right now. We struggle with obedience. We want to talk about our struggle with obedience. We struggle with obedience because of pride, fear, rejection of love, and lack of trust in God. Either way, rules and instructions are for our own good. So these are some reasons why we struggle with obedience, because of our own pride. I'm grown. I'm just going to do what I want to do. Be obedient to what, to who, for what. And trust me, I know. I'm grown. I work hard for my money, and I pay my own bills, and I am grown too. But listen, we got to learn how to be, even with your grownness and your independence, and you out here doing what you got to do. You making a living for your children and all those type of things that you do on a regular basis to maintain a decent life for yourself. We still got to make some room in there for obedience to just wiggle its little obedient head through. Because if you don't, you're going to suffer for disobedience. I think I added some things to my notes about the things that can happen for us not being able to walk in obedience. But yeah, we got to some. God don't like pride. God don't like pride. Sometimes we're going to have to sit on our pride, put your pride behind you, sweep it under the rug, or just like package it up and set it to the side for a minute. Do away with that pride for a minute, for a split second, so we can learn how to incorporate a little bit of obedience. Fear of rejection of love. If they're not going to love you, then they're not going to love you. So even if people don't like the fact that they want to call you a square or whatever, and you always doing things in a certain way, and you need to live on the lamb or just whatever, and why you stopping at stop signs or whatever, I don't know, because it's a stop sign and that's the law. You're supposed to stop at a stop sign. I don't care if ain't no cars coming from the other directions. You stop at the stop sign anyway, out of obedience. Just do it because you're supposed to do it. I'm telling you, these things spill over. You come to a four-way intersection. You the only car right there. You don't see nothing else in no different direction. What I need to stop at this stop sign for? Because it's the law. You need to do it. You don't stop at that stop sign and then turn. You think that you so slick because ain't no cops see you, but it's going to catch up with you. That's going to catch up with you. It's a cop somewhere. God, I'm telling you, it's going to catch up with you. Why you ain't doing the things that you know you're supposed to be doing, because you're supposed to be doing them. So whether it's accepted by people or whatever, just do it anyway, because you know that's what you're supposed to be doing. And then like we'll think that it's okay to not be obedient. And it can start as something as small as not stopping at a stop sign because you're the only car at the intersection. Just stop anyway. Just stop anyway. Stop because you are learning to teach yourself how to be more obedient. That's why I'm stopping, because I'm teaching myself obedience. I'm stopping at a stop sign because I'm learning how to be more obedient. It's going to feel different. Child, you ain't never stopped at none of them stop signs. Even when there's cars on every direction, you think that because you here, it's always going to be your turn, even though you pulled up last in the cars that was already, you're going to do it anyway. It's going to feel different because you're so used to doing whatever you want to do, when and how you want to do it, and all those type of things. But we're going to change that around for yourself, because you're going to want to know the difference that it is going to make in your life by you incorporating such a positive thing in your life. How is this going? This might affect my life in so many ways. Just the stop sign, just that little stop sign ain't nothing around, and I'm gonna stop anyway. But you don't know how that's going to affect. I'm learning how to be more obedient. This feels good. It's giving me a better feeling on the inside because I'm doing things because I'm supposed to be doing them, and I'm radiating positivity towards myself, and I'm allowing more positive experiences to go. So y'all be like, Sakira, why are you thinking like that? Like, is it really that deep? It is. Because you probably going through some of the negative things as growing. Like, wow, just in your life, it's so much negativity growing in your life because the small things that you don't want to be obedient in. I'm just a messenger. Listen, I don't want to live a negative life. I don't want negative people in my life. I don't want negative experiences in my life. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I want to ensure good experiences in my life. And if there is anything that I can do to ensure those things, I am more than willing, able, and ready to do it. And it start with small things. So these are reasons why we struggle with obedience and lack of trust in God. If you don't trust nobody, why not trust God? Why not trust God? I'm not here to preach to y'all. Listen, they call me the professor. I'm not a preacher. I'm here to teach you. But why not trust God? If you don't trust, and I know a lot of people that struggle with not trusting God. You can look at your own life and even some of the things that other people had to suffer with, some of the people that have died and gone before you, some of the things that you have made it through. You are a walking testimony of God is real. Why is it so hard for people to trust God? That's personal. That is personal. A lot of people struggle with trusting God because of their experiences. They don't understand why they have to go through some of the things that they have to go through. God allowed me to go through a lot of things for my own good, so I can know His law, so I can know how to be more obedient. I keep telling everybody my next tag is going to be, it was good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn your decrees. I might not get that whole thing. I forget what passage of scripture I was just reading it the other day, but that's what I want. It was good for me that I have been afflicted. If it had not been for my affliction, for the molestation, for the drug abuse, for the bad relationships, for the bad marriage, all the things that I had to go through today, I would not even know the level of peace that I know in my life right now. My life is full of peace and prosperity and abundance and joy and everything that I want. And some people live on this earth and leave this earth with never having experienced the level of joy and peace that I experience in my life on the regular basis. I needed my afflictions. These things happened for me, and it's all perspective. It's all how you view those things in your life. Do you want to play the victim for the rest of your life? Oh, this happened to me and I don't know why this happened to me. God called you for a purpose. We all have purpose in our lives. These things are not just happening to you because we serve a good God. And nothing bad comes out of the thing, even the things that God allows to happen to us is for us. It's for you. So all the while we can think that these things are happening to us, when in all reality, these things are happening for us. Your afflictions are good for you. You have to think about it in that way. It's perspective. It gives you a whole nother outlook on life when you realize that you did not have to make it out the car accident. Sakira, I could have died 2 weeks ago. That's not the first, second, third, or fifth time that God has spared my life. It's not hard for me to trust God. It's not hard for me to trust God because I know the things that God has done for me. I can't talk about you and your walk and in your life. But if you look at it in the way that you should look at it, then it would not be so hard for you to trust God. It wouldn't be, because the way that you should look at it is going to be beneficial for you. God has done so much for you. I don't know your personal walk, your personal life, the things that you have struggled with. I wasn't there to dry your tears or for you to cry on my shoulder on the darkest times of your life. I wasn't there, but I know who was there. God was there. Just like God was with me, God is with you too. So yeah, obedience, our lack of obedience, we have a lack of trust for God. And I know a lot of people that struggle with the lack of trust in God. And you are a walking testimony that God is real. Because if God weren't real, you wouldn't be here. Your life could have came to a tragic end a long time ago. You ain't even have to make it to the womb. You could have got fleshed out and taller or whatever else, but you made it, and you're alive, and you are here, and you are living, and that is enough alone to know that God is real. So we need rules and regulations and instructions in our life for our own good. Let's talk about disobedience. I told y'all not gonna like me today. I gave a fair warning at the beginning of this message. So we're gonna talk about disobedience, because I see a lot of disobedience. I can be disobedient too. You know, I watch my hard-headed kids be disobedient. I see a lot of people walking in disobedience. And I see a lot of people struggle and suffer. And the thing about disobedience as well is we feed ourselves so much bullcrap about why we are disobedient. We give ourselves so many dumb excuses about who shot John, Jack, and Jill rode up the hill, why this person doing this, or why this person ain't doing that, and this is why I'm not doing this. But look at your suffering. I see the suffering on you, and you making 1,000,001 excuses about why you can't be more obedient, and you the one that's suffering. In the long run, you suffered last time. You suffered the time before that because of your lack of obedience. You suffering now because of your lack of obedience. And knock, knock, newsflash, who's at the other side of the door? Suffering is going to be on the other side of the door if you continue to walk in disobedience. What do you expect to change? It's not going to change. It's never going to change. Things only change when you change. You have to change in order for things to change. I have to change in order for things to change. That's the only way it's going to happen. Listen, all right, my bad. I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I'm just the messenger. Sometimes you get sick of watching people suffering disobedience, because you know that there are things that you could be doing differently, and despite of your knowing, you still do some of the same things in the same way. When is it ever going? I ain't saying everything. Y'all some good folks. I love y'all. I'm telling you, I know some beautiful people, even some of the people that's on my live right now. Shout out to y'all. I know some amazing people in my life, and I'm not saying that you are a bad person. I'm not judging you because of your disobedience. All I'm saying is look at your own life. Look at your own life. And ask yourself, is there anything that I need to be doing? Because I'm sick of walking and suffering. So I feel like maybe I could be doing something or not doing something. I feel like some things can change. And the only way things are going to change if I intentionally change them. I have to be the changer of these things. I'm a human being. I have a choice to make the decision in my own mind and my own life, the things that I am going to do and the things that I am not going to do, the things that I am able of doing and capable of doing, and the things that I decide to do, the habits that I have over my life on a regular basis. And all reality, it's all up to me. What am I going to do? So disobedience. There are consequences to disobedience. It comes with loss, defeat, and a conflict. Disobedience is always costly when you don't do the right thing. And I just stopped there. I ain't gonna dig in y'all world because we grown. I don't want to feel like I'm talking to kids, because I don't even talk to my kids this much. I tell my kids what they should and shouldn't be doing, even down to my 11-year-old. If you don't do it, I'm going to let you see the consequences of your not doing. You are not going to receive. You can't receive in disobedience. How you going to ask for something if you don't know how to do nothing? You have to give in order to receive. You have to give obedience in order to receive peace, in order to put out that fire of inner conflict that's going on, inner turmoil, the peace that you don't have inside of you, and all of those type of things that you have been suffering with way too long. What are you willing to sacrifice in turn for obedience and the benefits of living a more obedient life? You have to give something in order to receive something. What are you willing to give to live a more plentiful life? So disobedience comes with all of these things, with loss and defeat. Who wants to be defeated? Who wants to lose, to continue to lose things in life, whether that be materialistic things, whether that be losing people in your life, having a bunch of relationships with different people that are not meant for you, in a conflict. Who wants to pay the price of living a disobedient life? Because not the kid. I ain't trying to go through all that. I'm just not. I'm not trying to sit up here and continue to constantly go through things in my life that can be easily avoided if only I learn how to live a more obedient life. So obedience can have a dark side as well if we obey the wrong thing. If you do something that you are that you know that is inhumane, that that is not pleasing to the will of God. If somebody tell you to go out there and commit a crime, or just do something that's wrong, that's against the law, or that's immoral, goes against humanity or human nature or wherever. So we have to be mindful of the things that we are obedient to. Just like I was telling you guys before, while being submissive, and this is to the husbands and to the wives, we have to be mindful of who and what we are submissive to, because you don't want to find yourself being submissive to the wrong person or to the wrong thing. So obedience can have a good side and obedience can have a bad side, but just be very mindful of the things that you allow yourself to be obedient to. So, yeah, we talking about obedience today. Like I said, doing things that are immoral, inhumane, or against the law. And I did write all of those things down. It is never okay to be obedient to things that we just should not be obedient to. So just watch what you are being obedient to. Obedience is a journey. It's our walk with God. Obedience is the greatest legacy that we can pass down. I was talking about, for those of us with children, for those of us with grandchildren, they see the things that you do. When you are walking a more obedient walk in life, in turn, your children and your grandchildren are going to want to walk and live in a more obedient life. So obedience can be a legacy that can be passed down for many generations to come. Obedience can break generational curses because of the suffering that has been going on in your lineage for decades and decades and decades. No matter what that obedience might have been. It could be it could be in health, it could be in finances, it could be, people in your family going to jail, or just living in a lack, and such a lack of, you just don't have enough of anything. You don't have enough peace in your mind. You don't have, enough of materialistic things that money can buy, because you ain't got no money. That's because of the lack of obedience, and that has been going on in your family. And these things can look normal to us because they have been going on in our families for way too long. And just because it has become normal in your bloodline don't mean it's right. Sometimes we have to change the reality of that with your own children and your own family, so you can make obedience a legacy for your children and your grandchildren and your children's children's children, to walk in the footsteps of obedience so they can live a more pleasing life. These things have a ripple effect hundreds of years from now. When you leave a mark in your family, you can be known for living an obedient life and the reflection that it left on your family for years and years and years to come. So obedience can be a legacy as well. So where am I? Question. Ask yourself this: what can I release over to God and learn how to be more obedient with? What can I release right now, right here, in this moment, and learn how to be more obedient to God? Okay, so let's try to narrow that down a little bit. That is like, wow, that can just be like a million and one things can run through your mind with just thinking about that right now. So what can you release right now? We're going to narrow that down. What do you want most out of your life to change for you right now? Let's narrow that down for the thing that you desire most in your life. That's too personal for me to talk about with you guys right now, but I'm so glad that I wrote that down. I forgot I wrote that question down. I'm going to ask that question again. Question: what can I release over to God and learn how to be more obedient with? What can I release over to God right now, here in this moment, and learn how to be more obedient with? What do you want more out of life? What do you want more of? What do you desire most? What do you lack of? What do you want? So when we think about that, we can kind of narrow it down to the desires of your own heart, the thing that you have been missing in life for so long. So think about that. What can you release right now? You ain't got to tell me. I mean, you could tell me if you want to, but whatever you call it on to yourself, that thing that you have been missing, that thing that you have been lacking of, whatever it might be. And that could be a vast variety of things. And think about it for yourself. And I want you to call that thing on to yourself. This is what I want for myself. I want you to speak those things over yourself. I want to release this. I want to trust God with it. I want to be able to walk blindly into it and know that God has my best interests at heart. I want to be more obedient in this area of my life, and I'm going to trust God with it. What is that thing? Are you willing to do that? That's another question. Are you willing to release something over to God today and learn how to be more obedient with, even if you don't know what the outcome of it is going to be? I'm going to tell you, nothing bad is going to come out of you learning how to be more obedient. Nothing bad is going to come out of it, especially when you are being obedient to the right things. Obey what you know to be true. So we have to obey the truth. Sometimes we think we know that something is the truth, and we don't obey the truth because a lie is more acceptable in today's society than the truth is. Being phony, being fake, putting on those fake masks and all of those type of things, instead of acknowledging the reality and the truth of certain things. So if you know something to be true, whether you have been disregarding it or ignoring it or sweeping it under the rug, if you know something to be true, then that's the thing that we need to learn how to obey more, is what we know to be true. Obedience is a very sensitive topic because it can be easily taken out of context, but placed in its proper perspective, we'll know that it's for our own good. I think I ended my message that way. So yes, we can very much take obedience out of context because I'm grown. I do what I want to do. I ain't listening to you. I ain't listening to nobody. I ain't even listening to myself. I ain't listening to God or whatever. And we just don't want to be obedient. But it should not be taken out of context. When looked at it in a mature way, sometimes we can just have a low level of thinking that can allow us to look at things in a way that is not very beneficial for us. We need to look at things in a way that is going to be more beneficial to us. Obedience is not a it should not be a difficult thing for us to incorporate in our life. Obedience is something that should be given freely. So it shouldn't be that hard for us to be more obedient. If you have to be obedient to a certain thing, no matter what area of life it pertains to, you might as well walk in obedience, do whatever you're supposed to be obedient towards, and move on ahead about your life. Just do it and get it over with. It don't mean your whole life has to revolve around you bowing down to a certain person or a certain thing or whatever. Just allow yourself to be obedient in those moments, to walk in obedience, to incorporate obedience in your life, to learn how to be a more obedient person so you can have an obedient life. Your life will obey you. Your life will do what you tell it to do, what you want it to do. When you live an obedient life, when you are good to life, life is good to you. And you can ensure that by doing something like incorporating obedience in your life on the regular basis. So and obedience will always be rewarded with joy, strength, and freedom. So that is how I ended my message. I do have one affirmation, and yes, I have an affirmation and a quote that I am going to leave with you guys. But listen, if I got up in your world today, trust me when I say I am just the messenger, and I am receptive of that message today. I want to learn how to be obedient, more obedient, for my own sake, for my own good. I want to learn how to live a more obedient life. I want to walk in obedience. I want to do the things that God wants me to do. I want to be more obedient to my own life. That's why I'm allowing myself healing right now. You know how bad I want to rip this freaking brace off my leg and go for a walk or do some cardio or work up a sweat. And I work so hard to get in shape and get my body to where it's supposed to be, but my leg is just not doing very well right now, and it's just taking so much out of me to just baby this poor little leg up and just think about how in the long run I can get back to doing the things that I am used to doing on a regular basis. So I'm being obedient to myself right now, and I'm being obedient to my healing right now. I just had to sit here with this leg wrapped up, propped up, and doing everything that I have to do in order for myself to heal. I don't want to rush it and then in the long run regret it. My leg might never be the same again, but I want to get hopefully as close back to normal. Well, what my normal was, as active as I was, I want to get as close to that as possible. So right now I have to be obedient. I have to be obedient to myself, and I went to God about it, and God was like, don't rush your healing. Don't rush your healing. So I have like 1,000,001 decisions to make right now and all of those type of things. But the most important thing to me right now is healing. And that is what I am going to allow myself to do. It's so hard. I'm like, I'm not working up a sweat sitting here. So I don't know. I just have to be obedient to healing right now. So what do you have to be obedient to right now in your life? What can help you right now? That thing that you have to pause and just call over your life in order for you to live a more pleasing and beneficial life that is going to help you through your journey. What one thing do you have to be more obedient to that is going to help you? We can all use a little more obedience in our life. I want from not wanting to be obedient to wanting to be obedient. I have allowed myself to incorporate obedience in my life more and more over the years. But even now, coming to the end of this message, I want to be more obedient. I want to be more obedient because I know it's going to have a positive reflection on my life. So I can take that and apply it to different areas in my life so I can live a more pleasing life. I personalize everything. Like, I know I'm talking to you guys, I'm teaching you, I'm telling you, and all of these type of things, but I look at it and I put it in my own life and I incorporate these things in my life because my life is important to me. And we have to think about how important our life is to us and the things that we want out of life. No, your life is never going to be perfect. No, you are never going to be perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect person. Yes, we are going to make some of the wrong decisions and all of those type of things, and we have to learn from our mistakes, but there are things that we can do better today than we did yesterday. We can make better decisions. We can learn along the way so we can live better, more pleasing lives. We can do these things for ourselves. And on top of that, if you don't do it, it's not going to get done. There's no magic wand. There's no snap of the fingers. I mean, we can pray and we can trust God, but prayer without works is dead. It means nothing. It carries no weight. It doesn't mean anything if you are not willing to do anything. So we had to learn how to walk in obedience. Big shout out to y'all that's on my live. I love y'all. I love you being here, your participation, your patience, sitting through this message, everything. I just appreciate it so much that you have opened up your hearts and your minds. And even if you view this video now or later, or if you watch it on my YouTube channel or wherever else I decide to upload it on different platforms, I appreciate you taking time out to listen to little old me and just think about some of the things that God has placed in my heart to share with you, to share my testimony, how far I have come, the things that God has done for me, and to open yourself up to life and to healing and to learning and to growth. We are growing together. So I appreciate your presence in my life, even if it's virtually. I appreciate you being here. So from the bottom of my heart, I greet you with peace and love and blessings, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. But real quick, I want to leave you with this quote by a man named C.S. Lewis. He was an early 1900 theologist and a literary scholar. So this is what Mr. C.S. Lewis said: obedience is the key that opens every door, and obedience is the road to freedom. Obedience is the key that opens every door, and obedience is the road to freedom. We want doors to be open in our life. We want to live a life of freedom. I love this quote in every way because sometimes we can be confused as to what we should do and what direction we should go in, and how can I start to begin a new journey or live better or do things different or change things around for myself. And one sure way that we can walk in freedom, open new doors for ourselves, have new experiences in life, and all of those those type of things, if you don't know where to start, one thing that we can begin to start with is living a life of obedience. Living a life of obedience. Get out your feelings. Sometimes we could be all wrapped up in our feelings, and this is happening to me, and this ain't even about you. Sometimes we need to learn how to get over ourselves. This whole thing is way bigger than you, bigger than you could have ever imagined. You have a destiny that needs to be fulfilled. You have a purpose in this world. God brought you here for a reason. You have a job to do. This is not even about you. If we learn how to look at the bigger picture, we can walk in obedience, and it won't be as hard for us to walk in obedience when we are not so focused on getting caught up in our own personal emotions, or why we have to go through some of the things that we have to go through sometimes, and it ain't about you. Get over yourself and begin to walk in obedience so you can do what you are really called to do, so you can walk in your purpose in life and lead a more fulfilling life. So I love that quote. Thank you, Mr. C.L. Lewis, for leaving those golden nuggets here for us to ponder on. And I want you to speak this affirmation over yourself all day long. My obedience is stronger than my distractions and temptations. My obedience is stronger than my distractions and temptations. And if we want more out of life, we are going to allow our obedience to outweigh our distractions and our temptations, the things that we are tempted to do that we know that are no good for us, or causing us to walk in disobedience outside of the will of God, or outside of us leading or living a more pleasing life. We want our obedience. We want any of our positive emotions, our positive feelings. We want our positivity to outweigh our negativity. So I want you to speak that over yourself continuously during the day, not just on the surface. I want that thing to resonate in your spirit. I want you to feel it when you hear it, when you say it. Write it down so you can see it, so you can convince yourself that these things is true, and you can allow these things to become your reality. My obedience is stronger than my distractions and temptation. Allow your obedience to be stronger than your distraction and your temptation. I love y'all. God bless you. Thank you so much. I want you to enjoy this Wednesday. You have made it halfway through the week. You have made it halfway through the year. Some of us have made it halfway through our life. Listen, I'm old, but I don't feel old. I feel good and I feel blessed. You have made it this far in your life. You might as well keep going. You might as well keep growing. You might as well keep living. You might as well keep doing the things that you are called to do, doing the things that you are meant to do, walking in obedience and doing the things that you are supposed to do. I know you don't feel like it, you don't want to. And we so used to being stuck in our own ways and doing things the way that we want to do them, and like this is the way that I've been doing it. This is the way that I'm going to keep doing it. I'm just going to do things the way that I want to do them, because this is just how I do things. I know it has been your reality. It has been your norm for, I don't know, so many years, but sometimes it's time for us to break out of our norm and try something different and try something new for your own sake. So we're going to try it, y'all. We're going to try to walk in obedience today. God bless you guys. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Real quick, go to my YouTube channel. The link is in the bio on my Facebook page. It is True Value Knowing Your Worth on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, tell somebody to tell somebody. Knock on your next door neighbor door. Call them, text them, whatever. Tell them to listen to this message on OB. I know you don't be getting along with your neighbors all that good all the time. Be like, listen, I listened to this message on obedience today, and I think this message is for everybody. Somebody needs to hear this. Somebody that you know needs to hear this message on obedience. I'm going to take my own advice. I'm going to reach out to somebody today and tell them to check out my message on obedience, because I think that it is going to help them. Do it out of love, do it out of peace, do it out of grace, do it out of obedience, because I'm telling you to do it. Tell somebody to watch this message on obedience today. It's going to help someone. Anyway, go to Amazon, buy my books. They are all available and on sale, not only in the Kindle version, but you can order the paperback version right to your front door. Y'all know y'all some Amazon shoppers out there. Order my books. Keep it in your book collection. They are short, power-packed, motivational, self-help, empowering, inspirational. Everything that you need is in one book alone. So I strongly encourage you to go to Amazon and check out the books. You will not be mad. I'm not sure how much Amazon are selling my books for now, but I believe that it is going to help somebody. My first book is True Value, Knowing Your Worth, the same as my YouTube channel. My second book is Walking Treasures, Discovering Your Hidden Treasures. My third book is Feed Your Soul, Your Personal Guide to Health and Wellness. And my fourth book is called Religiously, and that is taking a closer look at spirituality and religion. So go ahead and check out the books. It is not going to hurt you. I promise you, you will not regret it. It will take you maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops to get through one of my books, and you will be very glad that you did it. But anyway, y'all stay cool in this heat. Drink you some water and mind your business. Stay up out of other people's business. Give yourself peace, whatever you need in these moments. Go somewhere and pray and meditate. Take a couple deep breaths. Gather yourself mentally. Shut out all the clutter of the world. Do whatever you have to do that is necessary for you. I am going to challenge you today to prioritize yourself. Do what you have to do for you first. I'm not saying don't do nothing for nobody else. You can do something for somebody else. You can help somebody. You call somebody, tell them that you love them. But look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself today. Tell yourself how awesome and amazing that you are. Tell yourself you did a good job yesterday and you're going to do a better job today. Give yourself credit for trying, for putting forth the effort that you have put forth thus far to get to where you are today. Encourage yourself. If I can do the things that I have done in different areas of my life to get to where I am today, I can do bigger, more, better things, even more moving into my future. If don't nobody have your back, I want you to be able to have your back. I can encourage you, but I want you to be able to encourage yourself. Love on yourself. Make yourself feel good. Speak positively into yourself. Think positive things over yourself and over your life, and tell yourself how much God loves you and that you are going to be okay no matter what your situation is. Because how many other options do you have? You have no choice but to be okay. So it's up from here. When it's up, then it's up. I want y'all to be all right. God bless you. I love you. In the meantime, y'all look out for more motivational videos, more motivational messages. Don't forget to go to my YouTube channel. Lord willing, I will be right back here on Friday morning with some quick, powerful motivation. In the meantime, God bless you. I love you. Thank you, and you guys continue to stay blessed. Mwah.